a video to show you how to make a graphic for the digital monitors, the ones that are going to be widescreen. These are the monitors used by the various colleges, by marketing communications, also by CASE, the library, and recreation has one as well. So the first thing to do is just open a browser, and we're going to go to the Spark website, spark.adobe.com. Now, I don't know if that worked. Let's try that again. Spark.adobe.com. Right, so now I'm going to click sign in. And then we're going to log in with our school account. It'll be your Lewis name. You want to say you want to do the company or school account. And then it'll ask you to put in your password. It remembers mine. It's the password you use for your email. So there's a couple of options. Spark is great to do social media posts. More advanced things you can do are videos, and you can also do pages. But for this purpose, we're going to use it to do a graphic. You can either start from scratch by just clicking on the plus button and what do you want to create, or you can find a template that you might be interested in and use that as a starting point. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to say Halloween, and let's just look at some of the different templates that they have out there created. Let's see. Just trying to find one that's got some various features. Let's start with this one. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say create from this template. Now notice I picked one that's already horizontal because I know my graphics going to have to be horizontal. That's going to make it easier for when I resize this, but you don't have to do horizontal, but it'll just make it easier. So since I know this is needs to be for the digital signage, the horizontal landscape version, I'm going to click on resize, and I'm going to go to custom. So it's at the top. You might, when it comes in, it might be down here. Just go to the top and click on custom. See how this is 600 by 343. That's not going to be big enough. I want to make sure it says pixel. It could say inches here. Just make sure it says pixel. And then the size that you need to create is 1920 by 1080. 1920 by 1080. That's wide screen. It's almost the same if you're doing a PowerPoint for widescreen. It's the same size. Excuse me, say done. Notice it didn't really change much because I already had picked a horizontal size. So if you did have like a square graphic as a template, it would try to make the best adjustment, but it might look, the results might not be great. So with dealing with Spark, over here on the left, this is how we change text, how we add photos. We could do icons, which are these little things right here, like the hat. Design assets are kind of like things like this background image, and there are other backgrounds you can do. Logos, you can add your own logos. So like, let's say your college has a graphic, which you do. If you wanted to add that in, you could. But each one of these in Spark, everything is editable one at a time. So that's why using the templates is a nice start, because then you can go in and make edits. So let's say I just wanted to just say wishing you a happy Halloween, and that's it. And that's all I wanted to do. I could just go up here and say download, JPEG, start download, call it Halloween, and that's all I have to do. If it's something that I want to make adjustments to, which you probably do, it just depends on what you want to do. So let's say I want to just change, instead of wishing you a happy Halloween, I want to say wishing. When I click up here, you notice how it says wishing. I would just say wishing. Click over here, and now that's done. So type is that easy. Let's say I wanted to add another type that said um, Lewis University. And I will put it here. I could move this up a little bit, maybe make it a little bit smaller. Move this up a little bit. Notice how it, when I go and it's centered, it'll let me know. And then I could say, okay, I want to add some more type. So if I say type, I could say add your text, or they have these different like template starting points you could do. I'm just going to add my own. I'm going to make it wider. Center it. It says double click to edit, or I can come up here and I can just say Lewis University. And then I can change the point size here, make it a little bit smaller. I could also drag it down like this, center it back. I can change spacing. Right here, if I click on spacing, I can add to the letter spacing. See how that goes? The problem is the further you go, the harder stuff is to read. I could even change the color of it. So let's say I wanted it to be white. And it'll pick a palette that's similar to the colors that you're using on your page. I'd probably just leave it black. There are other effects you could do. You could do shadows. You could outline. You could do all kinds of stuff. Excuse me. Let's say I wanted to put a box around it. There's not like a box feature in Spark, but there are, if you click on icons, you could go up here and type in like rectangle. And you can find a rectangle. And then you could go down here and just resize it. Now that one's got a really thick border. I might see if I could find one that maybe had a thinner border. Maybe like the dotted line. I'll get rid of that one and bring this one down here. You know, if you wanted to highlight that. Or another thing I could do is I can bring in a solid one, like this one. Change the color of it to white. Bring it down here. Now notice I lost it because it's on top of the type underneath it. That's where this layout order comes into play. If I click that I want to move it down, it'll go down one level, and now I can access the type and I can access the box. So that's the way that I can add a white box behind something. There's also, by clicking on the box, I can change the opacity of the box. So maybe it's not 100% white, but it's lighter just to make that type show up. Excuse me. All of these are movable, changeable. If, let's say I don't like that, maybe I wanted something else. That was an icon, so I can just bring in another icon. Another cool feature about Spark is you have access to all these really nice images that are free. So if you click on photos, you can say find free photos, and let me just type in Halloween, and let's just see if anything cool comes up. So here's some nice fun ones. I don't want it to be too creepy, but let's say we're wanting to do this one. So add this photo. Bring it here. I'm going to make it really big. Kind of creepy. I'm going to go to this layout order, and I'm going to go all the way to the back. Here's that graphic that was part of my template. I can get rid of that. Now I would just need to take my type and change the color of it to, let's say, white. And maybe go back to this opacity and make it brighter. And I can even change the color of this hat to white. Change the color of these things to white. So you can see how you can use a template as a starting point, and then you can go in and customize to where you want it to be something for you. I could also take that and screen it back, but say I don't want it to be 100% white. Maybe that's a little too harsh. I can maybe make them all about 50%. So that font's not very bold, so it doesn't stand out perfectly. I might want to even go in and if I change the opacity of this graphic, that orange is going to show up. So the orange, there's an orange background that's back there. So I changed the opacity of the photo, and now that orange is starting to show through. So you can see there's a lot of fun ways that you can use Adobe Spark to create graphics. Again, I would just say download, start download, and I would call it Halloween tree. So I knew which two they were, and that's that. If I want to name it and come back to it, I would just call it Halloween. And then when I click back on Spark, it'll save it. And I'll be able to come back in here and make edits to it again. Let's say I want to show somebody. Then I can come back here and make edits. And you see it keeps track of all of your different graphics that you've done. It's a lot of fun. Experiment with it, play with it. But let me know if you have any questions. I'm Jim in Office of Marketing Communications, and you can email me at cowanji@lewisu.edu. Thank you.